I never had the privilege of going to his island.
You heard that right. Donald Trump just said he never had the privilege of attending Epstein Island. This was a disaster press conference between Donald Trump and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer. Donald Trump was asked lots of questions about Jeffrey Epstein, and Donald Trump made it worse, even worse than saying that he didn't have the privilege of going to Epstein Island. Let me just show you the full response to the question he was asked, where he talks about not having the privilege. Here, play this clip.
That was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
Then Donald Trump was asked if he was briefed that his name appeared in the Epstein files by the Attorney General, and didn't by law the Attorney General have to tell him? And isn't it true that Attorney General Pam Bondi told him in May? And then Donald Trump's like, yeah, well, it's all a hoax. And the prior administration, they put things in files, so you can't trust them anyway. Russia, 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 Russia. Here, play this clip.
One.
Mr. President, you have said that you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name?
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this: those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake. But those files were run by bad, sick people. If they had anything, why didn't they use it when I was killing Joe, and then he gave out because he was 25 points down? And then I got somebody new. Nobody even knew anything about her. She was a horrible vice president. She was a border czar, but she never went to the border. She never once called a border patrol agent to find out how we're doing. But she was the border czar. Her name was Kamala. Nobody knows her last name. It was Harris. But nobody.
And it got even worse than that. Donald Trump was asked, are you considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell? And before he said, I really don't know. And, now he's really just leaning into it. He's like, well, I am allowed to give her a pardon. This is what he's saying next to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer. Here, play this clip.
Different. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But maybe it's slightly different.
Mr. President, you completely rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that aspect of it, but right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So,
Mr. President,
then Donald Trump says that actually the cover-up of the Epstein files is a winning issue for him. He says this is a great issue, and Epstein helps his poll numbers, he says. He goes, he's doing much better because of all of his Epstein connections. Here, listen to what he says. Here, play this clip.
I just don't, when you talk about files, I just keep going back, and other people too. Even the enemy says this thing is not correct, because if we had it, we would have used it on the guy. It's a bad issue. They say it's a good issue for Trump. Do you know that my poll numbers are up 4.5 points since this ridiculous Epstein stuff, my poll numbers have gone up 4.5 points because people don't buy it. Okay, people don't buy it. And he's gone, and we want to focus on trade deals. I want to focus on the deal we just made with the European Union, which is the biggest trade deal in history. It's the biggest deal, I think, in history, not just trade deal. So if they would have had something, they would have used it.
People keep writing stories like the time he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. Well, can you settle that?
Then Donald Trump claims that the reason he was no longer friends with Jeffrey Epstein is because Jeffrey Epstein took the, quote, help that Donald Trump had hired, that Epstein stole Trump's help. Now, this contradicts the story that Trump and MAGA had told, where they were like, Trump got rid of Epstein because he realized Epstein was a pervert and kicked him out. Well, now Trump's saying that Epstein took his help, whatever that means, and that's what really upset Donald Trump, and that's why they stopped talking. Here, play this clip.
People keep writing stories like the time he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. Well, can you settle that? What was it about? What caused the breach with him?
That's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out. And that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth.
Then Donald Trump says that Epstein was a very controversial guy. So if Epstein was controversial, then why would Trump draw controversial drawings? Also, calling a sex trafficker controversial? I'm not really sure that that's the right word there, Donald. And I'm not sure how that's related to the birthday card that you sent him on his 50th birthday and a controversial drawing? What? Here, play this clip.
And also, you know, Epstein was always a very controversial guy. I was at a very high position, you know, pretty much all my life. In all fairness, I've been doing this for a long time. I had the top show on television. I had the #1 bestsellers. I had everything, right? And I was a very successful business guy. He was a very controversial. Who would do a controversial drawing? Now, with that being said, they say there were many letters done by many people, and many big people, you know, big successful people. But I just don't. When you talk about files, I just keep going back, and other people too. Even the enemy says this thing is not correct, because if we had it, we would have used it on the guy.
But then Donald Trump says he doesn't do drawings and he never draws women. Play this clip.
For the election, yeah.
Do you think that drawing, I think I heard you say something the other day, that the drawing that was the subject of the Wall Street Journal report.
I don't do drawings. I'm not a drawing person.
Do you think it was fraudulent?
I don't do drawings. Sometimes people say, would you draw a building? And I'll draw 4 lines and a little roof, you know, for charity stuff. But I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women. That I can tell you. They say there's a drawing of a woman, and I don't do drawings of women.
We previously showed you all of the drawings that Donald Trump has made before. Donald Trump then continues to talk about how he never went to the island, but he believes Bill Clinton was there 28 times. Play this clip.
And that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
I guess where they get into some sort of substance in their conversation, if you want to call it that. Actually, I don't call it that at all. Donald Trump says that Keir Starmer will not be banning Truth Social, Donald Trump's failing social media platform. And Keir Starmer's like, we won't ban it, Donald. We won't. The whole thing is so freaking weird here. Here, play this clip.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Successful social media site There are new powers here to censor your site, states mandate.
To censor my
To
site?
censor your site.
You mean Truth?
And Facebook.
Truth social?
I mean Truth. Is that okay?
Well, I don't think he's going to censor
No,
my
no,
site
no,
because
no,
I
no.
say only good things. Will you
Yeah.
please uncensor my site?
Yeah, we're not censoring anyone. We've got some measures which are there to protect children, in particular from sites like suicide sites. We've had too many cases in the United Kingdom of young children taking their own lives. And when you look through their social media, they've been accessing sites which talk about suicide and encouraging, if you like, children down that road, and that is what we want to stop. Nothing about censoring free speech. But this country is a proud free speech in this country has been for a very long time. We're very, very proud of it. We will protect it forever. But at the same time, I personally feel very strongly that we should protect our young teenagers, and that's what it usually is, from things like suicide sites. I don't see that as a free speech issue. I see that as a child protection
We
issue.
actually passed a bill in Congress, headed up by my wife, actually,
Yeah.
which was to pull bad stuff out having to do with children, because it is a problem. But I cannot imagine.
So you ever put on a shirt and instantly feel like you've got your whole life together? That's exactly what happened when I tried True Classic. These shirts fit, and I mean actually fit. They're snug in the chest and shoulders, looser in the midsection, and the fabric soft, breathable, zero stiffness. I'm wearing mine right now. I wear True Classic running errands, even out to dinner. They are that versatile, and I'm not the only one. True Classic is blowing up for a reason. You're getting premium quality without that designer price tag. Plus, they're doing good, giving back to underserved communities and helping guys show up with confidence and purpose. You can feel that in the mission and the fit. Forget fast fashion. This is gear that's built to last and built with intention. It's why I upgraded my wardrobe with a bunch of their shirts. So go upgrade your wardrobe now and grab them at Target, Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/Meidas and get hooked up today. That's trueclassic.com/Meidas. MEIDAS.
So a reporter then asked Donald Trump if he expects there to be any rate cuts, and Donald Trump doesn't understand what a rate cut is. So Trump goes, what do you mean? Like a tax cut? No, like a rate cut, like interest rates. Do you expect there to be an interest rate cut? Here, play this clip.
Yes?
Do you foresee a rate cut this week? Do you expect
A rate cut?
Yeah,
Meaning a tax cut?
No. Do you expect the Fed to cut rates this
Oh,
week?
I think he has to. You had 11 cuts, you know? In Europe, they had 11 cuts. In other places, they had 10 or 11 cuts. And we had none, but I'm not going to say anything bad. You know, we're doing so well, even without the rate cut. With the rate cut, it would be better. It affects our housing a little bit. Look, we should be 3 points lower. Each point is $360 billion. Can you imagine that? That's big numbers. Each point, 1 point of cut, is the equivalent of $360 billion in savings. That's big stuff, you know. Those are big numbers in the U.S. Everything's big. He should cut. A smart person would cut. You know, he leaves very soon, so it's like one of those things. But I'll miss him greatly.
I mean, he definitely looks pretty cognitively addled here as well. Then Donald Trump is asked about Vladimir Putin and what's happening there. You said you would bring peace to Ukraine in 24 hours. Are there going to be any more talks between the United States and Russia, Donald? And Donald's like, I'm not interested in talking anymore. He was mean to me. He said he sounds so nice on the phone, but then he kills people. He was mean. Here, play this clip.
But every time I think it's going to end, he kills people.
Could a meeting help, and are you considering it? Has been proposed?
I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not so interested in talking anymore. He talks, we have such nice conversations, such respectful and nice conversations, and then people die the following night with a missile going into a town and hitting, I mean, recently, I guess, the nursing home, but they hit other things. Whatever they hit, people die. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So a reporter says, but you told everybody during your campaign that Putin respects you. So it sounds like you're saying He doesn't respect you. Here, play this clip.
Very bad.
Mr. President, with the EU deal last night, you talked during the campaign about President Putin respecting you and not helping you have a relationship with him. Do you still feel that way, that he respects you, considering the conversations you've had that have been really nice?
Yeah. I've always gotten along with President Putin. I have had a great relationship with him. And he went through the Russia hoax, too. You know, I mean, it was, we used to talk about it. We used to say, you know, it's too bad we really can't do anything between our country. Because if we did, they'd say, oh, it's, you know, some. Look, I was tough on Putin because I was the one that closed up Nord Stream, and Biden came along and opened it up. I was very tough on Putin in one way, but we got along very well. And I never, you know, I never really thought this would happen. I thought we'd be able to negotiate something, and maybe that'll still happen, but it's very late down the process. So I'm disappointed. And, you know, the funny thing is that their economy isn't that big and it's having a hard time right now, but it's a relatively small economy. A strong military, but strong economy. And it used to be a strong economy, now it's not. He's going through a lot. Economically, it's not easy, but it's pretty small, you know, compared to that magnificent size of that land. The land is massive. It's got, I guess, 9 time zones or something. It's a massive piece of land. Russia could be so rich. It could be so rich. It could be thriving like practically no other country. And they're holding that back because we can't. He wants to do trade deals with us. He talks about it all the time. He wanted to. And I envision that, a lot of trade with Russia. They have a lot of valuable things. When you talk about rare earth, they have serious rare earth, right? They have just about every form you can have. So, you know, Russia could be so rich right now. Instead, they spend all their money on war. They spend everything on war and killing people, and it doesn't make sense to me. I thought he would want to end this thing quickly. I really felt it was going to end, but every time I think it's going to end, he kills people.
Could a meeting help, and are you considering it? Has been proposed?
I don't know. I'm not, you know.
Next, Donald Trump says he'll figure out what to do with Russia, maybe in 10 to 12 days. So he went from 2 weeks to he needed 50 days, and now he's saying 10 to 12 days. He's just a fraud. Trump's just a fraud. He's just a liar. He's making up numbers. Play this clip.
Mr. President, on Russia, earlier you said that you were going to change the deadline from 50 days.
Yeah,
What is your new deadline?
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
Then Donald Trump is asked why he doesn't like windmills, but King Charles likes windmills. And here's what Donald Trump says. Play this clip.
Mr. President, our King Charles, who you're a great friend of, is a big fan of eco projects, windmills, as you call them. Is he wrong?
So King Charles is an environmentalist, I will tell you. And I say that in a positive way, not a negative way. And every time I've met with him, he talked about the environment, how important it is. And I'm all for it. I think that's great, you know. King Charles, more than anything else, loves the country. But I got to know him very well. He truly is an environmentalist. He wants clean air, clean water, you know, all of the things that we all want.
Mr. President, you have said that you have not been.
And then Trump just starts ranting and raving about windmills and how they kill eagles and how he says, look, if you look out my window, they're in Turnberry in Scotland. He's like, if you look out my window right now, Donald Trump's like, you see how ugly those windmills are? And you go to Aberdeen, they're so ugly and they kill the birds. Here, play this clip.
The most expensive form of energy, and it destroys the beauty of your fields and your plains and your waterways. And look out there, there's no windmills. But if you look in another direction, you see windmills. When we go to Aberdeen, you'll see some of the ugliest windmills you've ever seen. They're the height of a 50-story building. And you can take 1,000 times more energy out of a hole in the ground this big. This big. It's called oil and gas. And you have it there, the North Sea. this big that nobody would even see. You can take 1,000 times more power because the wind is intermittent, it doesn't work, it's extremely expensive. All the windmills are made in China. They used to be Germany and China, now they're mostly in China. They all come out of China. They say that the blades, which are carbon fiber, you can't bury. Oh, okay, you can't bury. What are you going to do? Dump them in the ocean someplace? Because they only last a certain period of time. And remember, a windmill has a life of 8 years, especially when they're out in the salty sea and they start to rot and to rust. You're going to have to replace them. It's very hard to replace them. Wind needs massive subsidy. And you are paying in Scotland and in UK and all over the place where they have them, massive subsidies to have these ugly monsters all over the place. So I've restricted windmills in the United States. Now, a couple, we have, you know, the poor, stupid people at the beginning, they approved them. So they have their full approvals. But I've restricted windmills in the United States because they also kill all your birds. You know, they wipe out. You know, it's interesting. If you shoot a bald eagle in the United States, they put you in jail for 5 years. And yet windmills knock out hundreds of them. They don't do anything. You explain that.
Completely embarrassing and utterly humiliating. Tell me what you think, folks. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. I'm going to go take a shower or something. That was just gross.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.